everybody, welcome to the first online edition of the Pathfinders. The Pathfinders is a student-led Bible study that normally meets on Thursdays from 3 to 4 p.m. at Fenton High School, but due to the spread of the coronavirus, we are strictly online right now. If you would like to join our live streams, they are on Instagram at the Pathfinders with 2 S's, and they are during our normal meeting times, so Thursdays at 3 to 4 p.m. Otherwise, you can meet me and Jenna Maher right here to talk about what we talked about for that week. So our only announcement from today was that if you are still interested in a leadership position and you have not yet reached out to Jenna or myself, please contact one of us through any form of social media and we'll get back to you. So the verse that we started by talking about this week was 2 Timothy 1:7, which says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Now this verse actually relates to both of the negative reactions to the coronavirus that we talked about this week, which was dismissal and fear. And then we are also going to talk about where we should be and kind of how it's in the middle of that spectrum. So dismissal, of course, is when somebody is kind of pushing down other people's feelings, saying like, it's not that big of a deal, it doesn't really matter, whatever. And the reason that this doesn't relate to our verse is the second half of that verse, and that is of love and of a sound mind. If we are dismissing other people's actions, that is not of love, that is not something that Jesus would do. As Christ followers, we are trying our best to emulate and embody Christ as much as possible in what the Bible tells us, and the Bible does not tell us to dismiss other people's feelings, so that is, of course, why we don't want to do that. Another verse in relation to why dismissal is not something that we should be taking part in is 1 Corinthians 10:24, which says, or which basically states that we should be considering others before ourselves, which gives us the mind of Christ, and that is love. So we really want to make sure that we're not dismissing or pushing down anybody's feelings. Yes, there are some people that might be unnecessarily afraid, but we want to make sure that we're treating them with the kind and love that Jesus treats us when we are unnecessarily afraid. Another thing I have about that is that, of course, we are taking these safety precautions because if we take them when it is really bad, when we definitely need to be, then it's too late. And it is not just the flu, of course, it's more deadly, and it can be concerning to people that are vulnerable. The Bible actually always is talking about special concern for people that are vulnerable, so it is important that if we are seeking to be like Jesus, we would also be doing the same thing and showing special concern for those who are medically compromised and those who are elderly as well. On the opposite side of the spectrum, we talk about fear, and that relates to the beginning of 2 Timothy 1:7, which says, "God has not given us a spirit of fear." Another verse that relates to this is 1 Corinthians 7:32 through 35, which says, "I would like you to be free from anxiety, that you may live in a right way in undivided devotion to the Lord." Now, this, of course, is extremely important, and there's so many portions and spots in the Bible that tell us and talk about how we should not be afraid and how we have no need to be afraid, that the Lord is bigger than any problem we could ever have to face or anything like that, so that we need to really put trust in Him. A lot of the times when we are presented with a danger, we fear, and that fear automatically causes us to want to be in control of the situation. And obviously, a lot of the times we aren't strong enough to handle some of the dangers of life, especially like this one. So it's really important that we pray and we give our worries and concerns to the Lord so that we can receive that freedom to live in His faith and understand and trust that things are going to be all right. There's been a lot of things in this world that have happened before similar to this. Obviously none exactly the same, but there's been a lot of issues that people have overcome and been able to trust in the Lord with. And we understand that this Lord created this world in seconds, and so we can also understand that He can protect us and provide in this time if we just continue to give everything to Him and sacrifice our life to Him. Another example of this is in Deuteronomy 20, where Moses is giving instruction to his soldiers, and Moses is talking about how their army is going to face another army that's much bigger, and how they must understand that when they see something greater than them, they must not fear because the Lord will be with them. And this is the same situation that we're in, where we need to understand that we are seeing something that is greater than you or me, but we need to understand that the Lord is with us and He will protect us as long as we do what we're called to do in the Bible. We must understand that we don't need to be afraid and that He is the one that will go through all of this with us. He will give us the victory only if we trust Him. Another verse I have is 2 Corinthians 5:7, which just says we live by faith, not by sight. Obviously, right now by sight, we're seeing TV channels and the news and our social media and seeing all of these people being so scared and worried about everything that's going to go on. But we need to understand that we can't live by what we see right now. We need to understand that the Bible tells us that we can put trust in the Lord, so we must do that. The next thing I wanted to talk about what we as Christians can do during this time. Make sure you're taking all hygiene measures and following the instructions given by officials. This kind of falls into the category of having care for others. While for a lot of us, we're healthy and young and we don't really have to worry about stuff like that, there's a lot of people who aren't as lucky on the health side and who aren't as young. So we need to just have respect for others who are a bit more vulnerable. The next thing is during this time, sometimes it can be very frustrating to be isolated with your family or certain people that you have to be isolated with. So just remember to have respect for your family and your parents during this time. It'll make it smoother. It'll make everything run smoother for everyone. Another thing I have is to use this extra time to read, to pray, to watch sermons, to strengthen your faith. I know a lot of people that were commenting on the live stream today were talking about how they've started to fall away from their faith because they aren't going to church and everything, but please understand that this time can be used so wisely and that we can do so much with this time if we just go for it. So one thing that I really love to do is watch sermons. I always get that feeling, you know, when you walk out on a Sunday and you're like, I'm so ready to kill this week. So I love that we have enough time that you could start your day with a sermon, that you can still wake up late and watch an hour sermon and just feel really good and conquer the day. So I really recommend that. But yes, take your time to take some of this extra time to read and pray and get closer to God. And find creative ways that you can spread the light. Obviously, we can't really go to school right now or work or any of our daily commitments, but we can still get creative and find ways to spread light in other aspects of our life. So I just encourage you to get creative with that. And the last one I have is just to spend time with people that you can see that you may live with. Spend a little bit of extra time with the people that you get to be around all the time. Yes, this time can be kind of inconvenient and unfortunate, but we need to use it as a blessing in disguise because everything can be a blessing in disguise as long as you look for the positives. I understand that this can be a really sad time, especially for seniors and people that had a lot of things that they were looking forward to, but if we use this time wisely, we can understand that this will be a good thing for us, and it can be a time to rest and relax and get all those things on our to-do lists out of the way that we haven't had a lot of time to do recently. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the things that we can do during this time period. And this starts with taking hygiene measures and following the instructions given to us by officials. This falls into the category of having care for others. While some of us might be healthy and young, a lot of us aren't. So it's important that we are just respectful of others. Even if this virus is not technically very hurtful to us, we can still carry it to those that it is hurtful to. So it's important that we're caring for others and following and respecting the measures given to us by whether it be our parents or the government or anyone. The next thing that's really important is a lot of us are stuck with our parents right now, and it can be very easy to disrespect them or get annoyed by them. So I just encourage you to respect your family and try a little bit harder to be a bit kinder to them. Another thing I have is to read, watch sermons, pray, do whatever you can to strengthen your relationship with the Lord. It is a blessing that we have all this extra time. I know there was a lot of people commenting on the live stream today that they're really falling away right now and struggling with reading and watching stuff and, you know, getting into the word even, you know, without the encouragement of others in, you know, youth groups and churches and whatnot. And the wonderful thing about right now is that we have the extra time. I love to watch sermons. I love hearing sermons. They tend to put me in a really, really good mood of very passionate position, so I love to do that. And the fact that right now I don't really have anything going on throughout the day and I can kind of like wake up a little bit later, I can wake up at like 8 or 9 and I can watch a full sermon and take notes and then, you know, go into my day feeling really good and refreshed every single day is such a blessing. So I really encourage you to do the same and just to take some of this extra time to spend it with the Lord. And the next thing I wanted to encourage you to do is still try to find ways to spend time talking to other people and glorifying the Lord through your conversations. So even though we can't really see anybody right now, try to, you know, do things with the people that you are seeing in your household, as well as calling and texting the people that you are not able to see right now and keeping up with them. So that leads us into our challenge for the week. Our challenge this week kind of has 3 parts to it, and it is all about being creative with the way that you spread God's light. The first one is find something that you can do for yourself every day. This could be reading the Bible, this could be watching a sermon, this could be watching a motivational video, listening to worship music, just something that brings you closer to God that you can do for yourself. Second is something that you can do for others that you can see, people that live in your household. So maybe that is asking, doing something with your family every day, whether it be going for a walk or maybe watching a movie or reading your Bible together, reading a sermon together, doing something with the people that you are able to see, and just really try to take this time to appreciate being with those people. And then the third part is to do something or figure out something that you can do for the people that you can't see. This could be texting someone every day, texting different people every day, and just saying, hey, how are you? What did you read today? Or calling people. Just something that you're able to do to stay in touch with a certain person in your life. And this could be the same person for the week. It could be, a different person every day. Just something to help others in their walk with God. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this week's video. If you haven't checked out Jenna's portion of the discussion, I encourage you to do that. And if you have any questions, prayer requests, comments, anything you'd like to leave us, please feel free to comment below, or you can DM us on Instagram at the Pathfinders with 2 S's. Other information will be linked below, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye!